A weird fact about me that a lot of people don't know is that two of the most beloved family films of the 1990s are probably two of my least favorite films ever: Santa Claus and Mrs. Doubtfire. And this really has nothing to do with the quality of the films. Mrs. Doubtfire and Santa Claus on their own are two very entertaining and in their own right quality films. You see, the problem I had with these movies was a personal one. They both deal with divorce, and growing up in a divorced family, that was always kind of a sore spot for me because I just couldn't stand like being reminded of that situation in my life. And it wasn't even just those movies; it was all movies that had to deal with divorced families always seemed to bother me. I'm bringing this up because Marriage Story is probably one of the first films about a divorce that I found refreshing and hopeful. This film begins at the ending of a relationship. We see this well-to-do family. The husband is a director, the mother is an actress. They've been spending their entire relationship creating plays in New York City, and they have a son together. But the spark is gone, and they have decided to part ways. And at first, it's very cordial. They're trying to just work things out. They're trying to find a way to make the divorce work as best as possible so it doesn't hurt either them or their son. The problem is they seem to keep on falling into the pitfalls and the more adversarial avenues of divorce that occur in everyday life, and it basically turns this couple that used to love each other into bitter enemies. Now, right off the bat, it's extremely easy to see why this film was nominated for Best Picture. It takes the entire romantic comedy genre and flips it right on its head. Tonally, this film is exactly like every single Meg Ryan film you've ever seen. The thing is, it has this great overshadowing air of tension throughout the entire film. You know that these two people are cordial and they're polite to each other, but in reality, they want to rip each other's heads off. And because it's such a character driven film, it's easy to see why Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson were both nominated for Best Leads in their respective categories. They are astounding together. The chemistry is beautiful. You can believe that these people were once deeply in love with each other, and you can see the roads that led them to where they're at, where they didn't want to be with each other anymore. They're two extremely self involved people who aren't necessarily wrong for wanting to have their own ambitions, but it's clear that they were never going to truly work out because they just don't mesh well together. There is, in fact, this monologue done by Adam Driver towards the end of the film that will blow you away. It is one of the most intense bursts of emotion I've ever seen in a film of this type before, and the level of emotion you see is so deserved of him. You can see that he is at his wit's end, and he doesn't know what to say or what to do anymore to get across how he's feeling to her, and he ends up unloading in such a way that is both so deeply beautiful to see and also such a dickish move. I don't want to give away what he says or how he says it, but it just totally takes you back that he was driven to this point, that their relationship had taken him to this level of anger. Another great performance was done by that of Laura Dern and Ray Liotta, who play the lawyers of our couple in this film. And although they're like divorce lawyers, they're more like devils on the shoulders of these characters. They don't have the best interest of the couple at large. All they care about is the end result, the big paycheck that they hope to get, the big payout. And they're trying everything they can to destroy the other side. They're more interested in eliminating the enemy than they are in a peaceful resolution. They're the characters that really do turn this film into an all-out war for custody and money, as is typically the case in a lot of divorces. Another beautiful thing about this film is the tone. It feels like an early 90s romantic comedy in many aspects, down to the Randy Newman soundtrack that plays throughout the entire film. The aesthetic and the tone and the music all create this positive and upbeat atmosphere. And there's a lot of like really funny moments in this film that feel like those of a romantic comedy. But then there's, like I said, there's this tension between it. You can feel that these characters are pulling apart from each other, and it's this wonderful mix of emotion throughout the entire film. Obviously, the film is not without its faults. It is definitely trying to play itself out as a cautionary tale to divorce, about the pitfalls of divorce and the things you should try to avoid and the things you should prioritize when you're getting into a divorce. And I completely am 100% behind that. But the thing with it is, this doesn't seem like it's a one size fits all story. this is a very specific type of couple. It's a very specific type of situation and atmosphere. There are obviously going to be relationships that can't abide by this due to extremely toxic environments, abuse, infidelity, what have you. And it's not always going to be the same situation. So I don't think this is necessarily going to be a lesson for everybody to learn, but it's something to truly think about when when you're getting into this situation. I think it's something to take with you and to remember that you did once love somebody enough that you wanted to spend the rest of your life with them. So if the circumstances are simply that you didn't want to be with this person anymore, that you should remember these things when you're going into that separation, because you did love this person at one point. And that's really what makes me love this film, that it's a film that's not about the ending, it's about the best possible outcome of an ending. Um, it's a film that truly gave me hope for the future, for whatever scenario may come my way in life. Not that I hope I'll get divorced one day, but it made me think about the possibility of life after that, of hope after that. And it made me rethink how I look at these films that I do overlook because they involve divorces. And it made me come to terms with a lot of the things that I'm dealing with when it comes to that. Um, in the end, I think this is a marvelous film. I really do. I think it's a delight, and it's well worth a watch for the performances alone. I loved it, and I think you will too.